You're just begging to get fired, aren't you? I'm not begging to get fired, but I'll beg for something else if you'll let me show you. Hello, and welcome to Lovers Paranoia. This is a Yandere dating sim in which you have moved to a new island to start your life, and you seem to have caught the attention of someone obsessive and very, very powerful. Let's get started. Also, please pay attention to these content warnings right here because this is a very heavy game. I have been warned. Let's go. Oh, I like the effect. Oh my. It seems like my savior has finally come to save me. Wait, what? Please do tell me your name. Dear savior, write your name here. Yandere. I see. It seems like you come from another world. You must be wondering, who is this dashingly awesome being I'm talking to right now? I didn't bother to call myself anything other than my host calling me Entity. I still think you should be more creative with the naming. But oh well, perhaps you can use that name as well. Anyways, you are now in the consciousness of another mortal. After all, you decided to play this game. Oh yes, I do know in your world, our world is a game to you mortals. Oh, we're fourth wall breaking, are we? This early on? I would assume your world is above us. Or below. Is it above or below? Above? So you associate your world as heaven or perhaps paradise. How interesting. Let's move on. I would like to ask you for some help. Just a simple request. You just need to reach the game's true ending. What's the true ending? Of course, my host and your vessel leaving the island safely, of course. It's crucial to me. Why? I just care about their safety. No, obviously there's something shady going on here and you're just not telling us. Isn't that unbelievable? Yes. Meanie, before we continue any further, why don't you tell me more about yourself? She decided to abandon the gods. It was her idea to go against them, but the gods have never forgotten her. What pet would you like to have? A cat. I see. Excellent. Now allow me to brief you on your cute little vessel here. Your vessel decided it was a great idea to move to this island, which honestly is a little stupid of them, since this island has a tiny little dark secret. Anyone can come in freely, but no one gets out. May it be from accidental death or intentional death, but no one leaves. It's a cursed island to keep us beings in check. Oh my, I'm getting sidetracked. Your vessel experiences very bad anxiety. Hey, what's new? And all you have to do is make the right choices so that it doesn't get overwhelmed. A mortal who has overwhelming emotions is not fit to be on this island. Well, that rules me out. Alright guys, I'm not even gonna set foot on this island. We're leaving. Quitting the game. They tend to make rash choices, which sadly gives us unfavorable outcomes. But we must make do with what we've got. Let me simulate a scenario. Am I getting my keys now? Please make a choice. Yes. Then what's taking so long? Notice the edges in your vision affecting you. That's an indication of how bad your vessel's anxiety is affecting them. That's a very cool feature. It will be best to keep your vessel's mind stable, but it could come in handy in certain situations. A double-edged sword, as one would say. So your decisions matter, mortal. Oh, and also, there are other actions and items that can help the vessel's mind. So you might want to have them just for emergencies. Seems like we're running out of time. What a pity. I'd like to get to know you more, dear, but time is such a fickle thing. Let's wrap this up. There'll be lots of obstacles that your vessel will be facing, especially creatures similar to me, but those fools think bloodshed is the way to set them free. Me? I'm not as barbaric as them. I figured out that killing you is not a wise option. You must be asking, why me? What did I do? My dear, you were just unlucky. To ensure your vessel's safety, all I ask you to do is cooperate with my host, or your vessel will face the consequences. Time has come, I suppose. See you later, my dear savior. Did I just fall out of bed? Man, am I being eldritch haunted already? Does the eldritch being have tentacles? And is it a hot man? Important questions that I must ask as soon as we start the game, right? I fell out of bed with a loud thud, gasping loudly as I held my chest. Great. Another nightmare. With a sigh, I rubbed the sweat of my face before taking a deep breath. Nightmares were a common thing for me whenever I got too tired, but ever since I got here a month ago, I can't seem to remember what they were about. It's as if my consciousness leaves my body whenever I slept. Actually, I still felt a little tired. Maybe I can close my eyes for just a moment. Shit, flinching, I jolted awake from the alarm on my phone that was going off louder than usual. I sat up with an annoyed sigh and felt around the floor to pick up my phone. Once I felt the smooth touch of the screen, I picked it up and swiped the alarm off. I swear, I'm pretty sure I didn't leave the alarm this loud. My words were cut short when I finally saw the time and date. And multiple other reminders and alarms I left earlier on which was supposed to wake me up on my first day at work. I'm 3 hours late on my first day! Oh, that is so bad. Shit, oh no! I scrambled to get up from the floor and dashed towards the bathroom to get ready. Only to trip and fall from a shirt I left on the floor for God knows how long. And fall face first onto the ground. Crack! Ow! I groaned in pain and sat up from the ground holding onto my nose. Oh, that hurts. Please tell me I didn't actually break my nose. I slowly pulled my hand away, hoping there wouldn't be any blood on it. Yeah, I think that is clearly blood. Oh, just my luck. Of course this had to happen on the day where I'm late for my first job. I carefully got up and walked to the bathroom as I continued on with my rambling, occasionally wincing from the pain as I tried to stop the bleeding. And on the first day of work, too. Whatever, I'll just have to deal with it. Isn't it going to be a great day? I sat on the ground and put my shoes on before I left the apartment. As I was tying my shoelaces, my eyes slowly drifted to the cabinet right by the door. Right, I left my pills in there. I used to bring my pills with me when I was in high school, but recently I haven't gotten any anxiety attacks. Should I take them with me? Yes, I should probably take them with me just in case. You obtained a bottle of pills. Woohoo! I turned to look back at my room one last time, ensuring that I didn't leave anything important behind. I immediately took notice that the window was open. No wonder I was freezing last night. I flinched at the sun ringing on my phone that echoed loudly in my room. Oh no, my boss is calling. I picked up the call and ran out of my room, forgetting to close my window again on my way out. I managed to reach the hotel on time, but not really gracefully as one would say. In which I mean fumbling my way inside the hotel, my clothes all crumpled. My hair disheveled as if I had just stepped into a hurricane, and my jacket barely hanging on for dear life. To make things worse, I almost crashed into one of the leaving guests as they glared at me. Watch where you're going. You're lucky that my coffee didn't spill on me. Hey! It was then I noticed he was holding a huge cup of coffee that would likely put someone into a coma on his right hand, and a suitcase in his left. I'm sorry, sir. I will be more careful next time. I bowed to him multiple times as he scoffed and gave me an odd look before turning away to leave. I sighed out of relief before flinching again for the second time as I heard the door slam open. You! Oh, crap. I slowly turned around to face my very pissed off boss. Boss! I'm so sorry. I overslept and... Shut it. I don't want to hear any excuses. This is the first time I've seen a person having the guts to show up to work late on their first day. And to top that off, almost cause a scene in the hotel. I could feel the anger radiating out of him, and I immediately bowed my head down in embarrassment. He sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose. You're lucky that I'm short on staff right now. If not, I would have thrown you out just for turning up 3 hours late. I let out a sigh of relief. Thank you, boss. I promise it won't happen again. He rolled his eyes and grumbled under his breath. Youngsters these days. He looked back at me before suddenly leaning his face closer to my own. I unconsciously flinched back after noticing how close we were. What happened to your nose? You look like a football smash ran into it. I fell down on the way here. I held my breath as he scanned my face for a while. What's his problem? I relaxed when he finally moved away, grumbling out something again before pointing to the back room. The uniform is in there and there should be a medkit on the top shelf. Maybe he's not a bad boss. And I'm not doing this out of pity. I just don't like my workers showing up all bruised up. He smirked and walked to the counter. It's bad for business after all. Scratch that. He's a bitch. Yes, he is. I sighed and went to the back room to get my uniform and medkit. After getting changed and patching up my nose in the changing room, I walked over to the counter where my boss was waiting. He starts teaching me the basics like where to clock in and how to register new guests. Boss? There are some things you left out. I'm sure you're smart enough to figure them out. What? Well, you're still young. Youngsters these days catch up very fast, so I have no doubt that you can do the same. Hey, this is poor onboarding. This is a bad work environment. I'm rating you like 1 out of 5 stars on Glassdoor, but these things here are new to me. He scoffed and glared at me. Maybe I would have taught you more if you showed up on time. This guy sucks. I felt anger surge within me and I clenched my hands into fists. Calm down, Yinny. He's your boss. If you lose your cool now, you most likely won't ever get a job again. I'm not sure if I should apologize to him again or keep quiet, sensing as his mood is as shitty as it is. Fine. I gave him my best fake smile. I'm sorry again for my carelessness. I'll make sure mistakes like this won't happen again, boss. Let's see how long you'll last, newbie. I felt my eye twitch in irritation. I badly wanted to give him the middle finger just now. I watched him silently as he returned to the back office. He stopped for a moment before glancing back at me from the doorway. Make sure you don't slack off. There are other things to do when guests aren't around. Wait, what? Other things? He never mentioned those things. But boss, what do you mean other... He closed the door before I could finish my question. I grumbled under my breath and rubbed my forehead in frustration. How am I even supposed to learn when I don't even know what I'm supposed to do? I was aware that the work on this island is hard and demanding, but I didn't expect a hotel of all things to be like this. I looked back at the computer on the desk and thought for a moment. I guess there's no harm with checking the guest list. I turned on the computer and started scrolling down the guest list as I waited for people to come in. This is so boring. I've been standing here for nearly an hour, and I expected at least one guest to walk in. But so far, no one even glanced at the hotel from outside. Probably because it's the weekday or something. I mumbled and let out a small huff before grabbing the chair next to me and sitting down. I heard my phone's messaging ringtone go off multiple times. Mum usually doesn't message me at this time. I pick up my phone and stared at the notifications. Great, it's from him. Why didn't he message me out of the blue? Even if we were friends before, he never bothered to text me after that fight months ago. I seriously don't want to check the messages. But it could be important since he's close to my mom. Should I check? Pick them up. I decided to look at the messages. Hey Yinny, how's everything in Ab's denial? I know we haven't been talking for a while, ever since that fight. We all realized we were wrong. We shouldn't have ignored you when you tried to reach out. You were suffering for a long time with your own problems and I didn't know. But you should have said something. Hey, whoa, let's not victim blame here. Did I not try and reach out when I said something? Maybe you should have tried harder to tell us that you felt left out. We would have tried to include you in more of our hangouts. Oh, I hate this guy. Hell nah. The reason why we don't call you is because you space out a lot. And most of the time you're just quiet. It's hard to talk to you too since your hobbies are pretty boring. Live up a bit over there, go to some parties or something. Maybe then you'll learn to socialize a little and grow out of your anxiety. You know what? I'll come visit you in a few days. Let me crash in your place and I'll help you with talking to others. Get some friends of your own if you know what I mean. I have business over there with some clients anyway. Send me your address. Can't wait to talk to you soon. I hate this guy. Panos, where are you going? What? He's gonna come over after everything him and his so-called friends put me through. I bit my lower lip as my mind spiraled out of control. He doesn't know my address. Right, he doesn't know. As long as I don't give him my address or talk to him, I'll never have to see him again. Phew. I took a deep breath to calm myself, but the lingering panic still gnawed at my heart. Don't think about it, Yinny. I stifled a yawn as my eyes grew heavy from doing nothing at all. I bet he just wanted a free place to crash. I glanced around in the lounge to make sure no one was watching before plopping down into the chair. A quick nap wouldn't hurt. I slowly closed my eyes, letting the comforting embrace of darkness welcome me. The city burned brightly in the flames, while explosions echoed in my ears. What's going on? I could hear splashing beneath me as my vision swayed up and down, mimicking as if I was on a boat. I think I'm on a boat right now. I felt my fingers twitching on my right hand. I feel like I'm about to throw up. I can't move. I could feel myself struggling to breathe. My chest tightened as I started to hyperventilate, and then I felt warmth on my twitching fingers. Finally, I could move my head to look at my hand. It was held by a hand that wasn't my own. I slowly looked up to the person next to me. Ooh! I was jolted awake by the sudden slam of the counter, the deafening noise vibrating in my skull. What? Oh my god. Oh, he's so pretty. Do we need to repeat this? Do we need to repeat and say that I really like dark-haired, tired-looking men with dark eye circles and a scowl on their face? Because I feel like I have said this so many times. It's even acknowledged by Ren himself in 14 Days with You. There's like a little Easter egg if you put my name in. What? Oh, shit. I yelped in shock, tumbling off my chair as I noticed someone standing at the counter with a pissed off look. Ow, 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 ow. I groaned in pain, rubbing my aching lower back. Finally, you're awake. I'm honestly amazed that people can still slack off here of all places. You're just begging to get fired, aren't you? I'm not begging to get fired, but I'll beg for something else if you'll let me show you. Yeah! I gulped up at him from the ground. Crap! I scrambled to my feet, bowing repeatedly as I broke into a cold sweat. I'm so sorry. I didn't expect anyone to come in since it's a working day and— I don't want to hear your excuses. He grumbled, flicking his wrist to toss his card onto the counter. You obtained a credit card. The biggest room you got, and make it quick. Hey! Aria? Is it just me or his knuckles kind of bloody? I've been standing here for nearly 30 minutes. Of course. I'm so sorry again, sir. I began checking him in and asked for his details. Can I have your name? And, how many days are you staying? Ugh. He clicked his tongue and tossed another card on the counter. I stared at it for a moment before slowly picking it up. He obtained an ID. It was his ID. Just for a day. I expect you to know who I am by now, but it seems like you're new here. My left eye twitched at this statement. Who the hell does he think he is? I don't know, but he sure is hot. He acts like he owns the place. I took a deep breath to calm myself down once more. I have a feeling that I'm gonna do this a lot. I put on my best fake smile. Yes sir, it's my first day. I'll get you a key as soon as possible. I looked back at his card and stared at his name. Mr. Kane. What is it now? I did a double take at his card, my eyes flicking back to him. Why is the last name on your ID scribbled with a marker? Just keep my last name blank. Sir, just do as I say, or you'll regret it. Alright. I looked back at the computer and entered his name. You know, since he doesn't want me to put in his last name, I can just put in whatever I want, right? No, keep his name blank. I don't want to cause any more trouble for this person. He might murk us. He looks ready to murder the next person who dared to irritate him. And most likely, it'll be me. I left his last name blank and surprisingly the system accepted the request. Well done. Here's your card. He reached his hand out to take the card back. It was then I noticed dark red flaky skin on his knuckles. Okay, so I was right. His knuckles were like bloodied. Is that blood? God, his knuckles are bleeding. Did he get into a fight? My eyes lingered on his knuckles as my grip tightened around the ID. He noticed that I hadn't let go of the ID and followed my gaze. His glare deepened. Give me my card. Now. Okay, alright, you don't have to look at me like that. You are very hot though, but you do not have to look at me like that. Or better yet, maybe do it but in a more sexy way. I gulped, weighing my next course of action. Return his ID. Treat his knuckles. Alright, what happens if I treat his knuckles? Please wait here a moment. I shoved his ID and keycard into my front pocket before he could grab them from me. I could feel his piercing gaze boring into the back of my skull as I turned to grab something from the backpack I left on the chair. You're really pushing my buttons right now. Trust me, it won't take long, sir. If I can only find it in this mess. What do you... Aha, found it. I turned around with a bright smile. I might have talked to you for only a few minutes. He huffed, his tone growing progressively more impatient and annoyed. But I definitely could hear curiosity underlying it. However, I can already tell whatever you're planning isn't good. As I've said, this won't take long, so please don't worry. But it might be painful. He jolted when I carefully touched his hand, body going slightly frigid as a tiny blush covered his cheeks. Aww! I love his little cheek scar. He's so cute. It was kind of adorable. What do you think you're doing? I don't know what fight you went through, but it must have been a bad one if your knuckles ended up like this. Luckily, I always have an emergency kit in my bag, but I had no proper bandages for it. There should be enough to cover the wounds. I wasn't sure why I wanted to help him, but something about it made me want to help. I only heard a small grunt from him. Taking that as an approval to continue, I started cleaning the blood from his wounds as gently as I could. He just kept staring at me, unnervingly, like I was some kind of creature he couldn't recognize. Is it really that weird to want to help someone? If it hurts, please let me know. Again, he gave me only a non-committal grunt. For something so grumpy moments ago, he had surprisingly mellowed out. I lightly gnawed on my lower lip and began to apply antiseptic to his wounds. I could feel small flinches from him, but he never made a sound or protested. After making sure his wounds are properly cleaned, I carefully covered them with the only bandages I had at the moment. Some good old cheap store-bought bandages. Sorry, that's all I have right now to cover them. I want to use the medkit the hotel has, but... I pointed my bandaged nose. I fell down this morning and boss told me to use it. It didn't have much anyways. I explained, crossing my fingers, hoping it wouldn't anger him further. That heavy gaze was back on me and I didn't have the guts to look him in the eye. So I kept my eyes down, focusing on the silly bandages, trying to distract myself by smoothing them down. Once I was satisfied with the poorly covered wounds, I quickly let go of his hand, realizing I'd been holding onto it far longer than I had meant to. I'm no medic, but living a life prone to accidents, I've gotten pretty good at patching up wounds with whatever I have on hand, even if it's poorly done sometimes. I should do it, and make sure to patch them up properly when you get back home. He stared at the bandages silently, his eyes filled with uncertainty. Did I somehow make him mad again? Are you not able to afford proper bandages? Is that what you're gonna say after I went to the trouble to treat your wounds? It's really ugly. It's barely holding up on itself. Is he for real? In that moment, something inside me snapped. You could... I'm sorry. What? Did you somehow lose your voice? Speak up. I said I'm sorry for helping then. Oh, I feel a bit bad. He looks very shocked. He jumped back in surprise. My throat tightened as my eyes began to sting on the verge of tears. Hey. He reached out to me, but I yanked my hand away before he could touch me. Without thinking, I slammed his ID and keycard on the counter and quickly packed everything up that I had left. If you need anything, please contact the owner. Before he could utter another word, I stormed out of the hotel. I don't care if this gets me fired. I just can't stand being treated like this. Especially after being nice. Is this how everyone treats people nowadays? I'm definitely screwed now. I'm getting fired for sure, but I couldn't take it anymore. I don't think I could have withstood another insult if I stayed. As I walked further away from the hotel, the rain started pouring heavily. Oh, how convenient. Wait, now Mother Nature's mocking me. And I forgot to bring my umbrella. Well, at least no one can see my tears. Rushing into my room, I threw my bag aside and collapsed against the door, letting out a choked sob. Damn it. I screwed everything up again. On my first job as well. I stared blankly at the floor, feeling lightheaded as dread sank deep into my chest. Negative thoughts about what tomorrow might bring swirled in my mind. Don't think about it. Please just shut up, brain. This is the time where we take our meds, I think. Take pills. My pills are in my bag. Right. I just need them. I just need my pills. Grabbing my bag from where I threw it, I fumbled with shaky hands pulling out the bottle of pills. I unscrewed the cap and swallowed the pill quickly. Leaning against the wall with a sigh, I waited for the pills to kick in, hoping they'd calm the storm in my head. After about an hour, the pressure in my head finally ebbed away, leaving behind a dull numbness, and I exhaled in relief. I stood up from the floor and made my way further into my room, falling into my usual routine. Check the room. Okay, take a shower and then check the room, is what it says up in the top corner here. I took off the clothes I was wearing and threw them in the washing machine. Not caring if there were any white clothes in the bunch, I poured some of the cleaning detergent together with the clothes. I slammed the door shut before turning on the washer. It's gonna take a while. I should take a shower in the meantime. I slipped into the shower with a content sigh, feeling my muscles relax in the warm water. I reached for my soap bottle and lathered it onto my body. I stepped out of the shower and dried myself before putting on my clothes. I should probably check on my stuff. Who knows if anything has been stolen, especially when I forget to close the window. But I live on the 3rd floor. That hasn't stopped a Yandere freak before. Just to be safe. Check the room. I pulled out a biology book from the bookcase. I had this book with me since I started high school. I always enjoyed reading science books ever since I watched that science documentary when I was young. Only issue was that I had trouble remembering the names of each scientific parts of the body. Well, at least now I can enjoy reading the book on my spare time. I placed the book back in the bookcase. I yelped when the book fell from the bookshelf and landed right next to my foot. I picked it up and inspected the cover. Oh. It was a book that I had gotten from my neighbor's garage sale. My group of ex-friends used to go around the neighborhood to check out neighbors' sales. I'd usually buy self-written books because I admired the person's creativity and style of writing. It was normal for me to get weird looks from the group, but I felt connected to those who write their struggles and wanted a way to show them. If I was not mistaken, I flipped to the last page and a sad smile creeped to my face. It was a bunch of frantic scribbles with the repeated phrase, "I promise I would return to our paradise." I softly traced the scribbles on the page. From what I remember, it was the neighbor's son who wrote this book from when he was a teen. But later on, he became mentally unstable and took his own life before he turned 18. He died exactly how the children in the book did. I stared at the scribbles for a few moments before snapping back into reality. Right, I have things to do. I stared blankly at the maths book in front of me. Why did I even bring this book with me? I thought I left it back at home. I might have accidentally put it in when I was packing at midnight. Oh well. I pulled out an old leather-bound book that had a diamond-shaped symbol on its cover. I raised a brow and turned the cover over. My eyes softened at the messily written name on the first page. It was my journal, the one I had since I was 10. I think I spent most of my time writing the moments I had. I flipped to a random page. What's this? Log 001. You obtained the note. Why is it bloodstained? What in the world? What the hell is this creepy note doing here? Did someone break into my room? But that can't be possible. I always lock my door and I live pretty high up. Maybe it was a prank with one of my old friends. I will keep this with me for now. I walked over to my terrarium. It has seen better days. I really need to get the supply so it doesn't die soon. I pressed a few buttons on the old radio. Only static can be heard. I should really throw this out. I picked up the jewelry box from the top of the bookshelf. I sighed softly and traced the edges of the box. It was a necklace gifted from someone I used to care about. Before that fight happened, I guess I hoped he would understand me. Do I keep it or do I dispose of it? Dispose of it. I smiled brightly and walked over to my window. I took a deep breath and threw the necklace out the window as far as I could. I don't need trash like you anymore. I heard a thud in the distance, which is followed by a loud scream of, "Oh my god, I'm gonna be rich!" Oh well, maybe I should have sold it instead. I picked up the picture frame next to my window with a small smile. Mom and Dad, I hope you don't worry about me now. I'm sorry for giving you so much trouble. I wonder if they're doing better now. I sighed and placed the frame back where it was. Let's see, a mug. A dirty cat mug was placed next to my laptop. It was gifted. It was a gift from my parents for my 15th birthday. They got me the mug because I was obsessed with cats when I was young. I have the same interests. I still have the same interests for cats. Never grew out of that phase, I guess. They're just so darn cute. It's been sitting there since last night. I should probably wash it. Maybe later. I slowly picked up some of my clothes from the corner of the couch that I probably haven't washed in a week. Or a year. Silly me, it can't be more than a year. I just moved in last month. I cheekily stuck my tongue out and winked at the reflection of myself on the laptop screen. Teehee. Not the teehee. Okay, that was awful as hell. Has me getting fired caused me to be this cringe? I scrunched up my face in disgust as a shudder ran down my spine. I dropped the shirt back down into the pile and attempted to forget my ridiculous actions. A stack of books sat on the corner of my table, mostly a bunch of job interview tips and questions to help me when I'm job hunting. I was thinking about keeping these away since I got a job, but I guess I'm back to square one. I touched the keypad on my laptop and realized it was really warm. Crap, I must have forgotten to turn it off. I tapped on the keypad a few times to turn on my screen and checked the battery power. 10%. I sighed and grabbed my charger from my bag and connected it to the laptop. It should be fully charged by tomorrow. I walked over to the TV and stuck my hand in the empty space next to it trying to find the TV remote. After a few minutes, my fingers brushed on something cold and smooth, almost like plastic. I slowly wrapped my fingers around it despite feeling tiny pins poking my fingertips. What the hell am I touching? I pulled out whatever was in the empty space after having a good grip. It was a cockroach. Aw, gross. I immediately threw the cockroach out the open window. Yeah, I react the same as well. I nearly gagged at the thought of it. Don't get me wrong, I love bugs, but my history with cockroaches... Ew. I shook my head trying to forget about what happened. I turned to look where I threw the nasty thing out before noticing the window was wide open. Oh, I must have forgotten to close it last night. I should probably close it soon before I forget again. But yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah, I don't think I can get anything else. These are all things that I've clicked on already. So let's close the window. I shivered as I stepped in closer to the window. People were bustling around the city as always, trying to do their day-to-day jobs. I sighed and thought back on the time I first got the apartment. It was a struggle, especially when the prices were ungodly high. I was lucky enough to get a room. But I think my landlord is pissed at me for not paying rent. The last time I paid my rent was 2 months ago. You should probably pay your rent. I should get job searching soon. I let out a soft yawn and closed the window. Go to bed. After finishing my chores, I flopped onto the decently soft bed I spent with my remaining savings. I probably should just sleep in tomorrow. Not like I have a job after this. I held back my tears on what had happened earlier in the day and held onto the pillow. Just sleep it off, Yinny. You'll be okay tomorrow. I can't help but feel like I'm just making a series of really bad decisions. A lot of this could be rectified. I slowly closed my eyes before falling asleep. It's warm. Too warm. I tried to open my eyes. Nothing. It was as if my eyelids had been sealed shut. I willed my arms to move, but they wouldn't budge, trapped and confined in a space too tight to escape. Let me guess, I wrapped myself in my blanket again and now I'm stuck. The same goes for my legs. A sharp, suffocating pressure settled over my chest. My breath came in short, panicked gasps. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I need to wake up. Oh God! Jesus! Let's get the crap out of me. I am pressing these as fast as I can. Oh, thank God. My God! Holy crap! I crashed onto the cold floor with a heavy thump. Do I just fall out of my bed every single day? I let out a weak groan as I curled up on the cold surface of the ground. That was one strange dream, but I could hardly recall anything about it except for... those eyes. It almost felt too real. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my nerves before slowly pushing myself upright on the cold floor. Wait, did I watch something that could have triggered it? I scratched my head, trying to piece together what had caused it before letting out a weary sigh. Oh, whatever, it's just a hallucination, right? I struggled to push myself up to my bed, but my body wobbled, swaying dangerously to the side as if I was about to topple over. Oh, shit! I scrambled to steady myself, gripping the bed frame tightly before collapsing onto the mattress. I gasped for air, dizziness crashing over me with a brutal force. I gently pressed my hand to my forehead, sighing as the heat burned through my skin. Great, I have a fever now. I groaned in annoyance, reaching for my phone to turn off the alarm, seriously considering throwing it out the window. After a few taps, I laid back down on the bed for a few minutes as my headache intensified. Just as I was about to contemplate about my life, I felt my stomach growl in hunger. I'm hungry, but I ran out of food yesterday, so buy more food. And I need to get my laundry done and clean the room. Maybe it's the fever, but I found myself rambling about everything that needed to be done, yet my body refused to move. Maybe just a few minutes. I can close my eyes. Just as I was on the edge of slipping into my sleep, my phone blasted through the silence, ringing sharply in my ears. I groaned and picked up my phone again. I swear to God, whoever this is, it was Boss's name on the screen. Is it too late to start praying? Time to get yelled at and fired on call. Yay! I picked up the call. Yinny, Boss? Where the bloody hell are you? Sorry, Boss. You planned to fire me. You just say so on the call. Oh, trust me, I would have fired you the second I heard from Mr. There was a brief moment of silence where I heard someone talking in the background, but I couldn't make out what was being said. Look, just get over here now. Wait, what? The line was cut off? Do I really need to go and suffer again? I guess I might as well get it over with. Maybe I will get my one-day pay. I rubbed my eyes and shakily got out of bed, heading to the hotel in my feverish state. I stepped into the hotel, finding the urge to collapse from exhaustion and the faintness that threatened to overwhelm me. I noticed that no one was at the counter, which somewhat surprised me. I thought they would have gotten a replacement by now. Stepping closer to the counter, I rang the bell and waited for someone to come over. After a few minutes, which felt like hours of waiting, Boss stepped out of the room with a familiar figure following him behind. Oh, it was the man from yesterday. I guess he was with the boss to file a complaint on my behavior. Maybe boss wanted me to apologize in front of him. This is so humiliating. I should just stayed home.
Took you long enough.
Sorry.
Anyways, I called you here for a different reason.
Boss didn't seem pleased. I guess it's not happy news for me. Steel yourself, Yandere. Here comes one of your newest and most embarrassing moments.
You'll be transferring jobs.
Wait, what? Oops, I said that out loud.
Alongside with a promotion.
I think my jaw just hit the floor.
Trust me, kid, I don't get what you did to deserve a promotion either. Are you questioning my decisions?
Ooh, that's so hot. A chill ran down my spine from how cold Kane's voice sounded when talking to boss.
Oh, of course not, Mr. Kane.
I would never.
It sure sounds like you're questioning me.
He does look really hot when he does that. Kane steps closer to the boss, his hand coming down firmly on his shoulder, squeezing it with a tight grip. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be Kane?
Or perhaps you're trying to say that I do not know how to run my own business.
Never. I would never. Oh, wow. I think this is the first time I've ever seen the boss this rattled. Well, to be fair, I just knew him for 2 days, so maybe he was just that easily rattled by intimidating people. Wait, Kane owns this hotel. Kane smiled at boss and patted his back. He's so cute when he smiles. Look at that cute little face.
Then you can get back to work. I've already arranged for a replacement in a few days.
Yes, of course, Mr. Kane. Boss quickly ran back to the office. What a chicken. I turned back to Kane, casting him a puzzled glance. What's going on? I was about to ask him what had happened when I suddenly felt myself leaning backwards.
Yandere,
Just before I completely fell, a pair of arms swiftly wrapped around me, gently guiding me to lean against something firm and warm. His chest? A faint scent of cedarwood enveloped me, offering a strange sense of comfort. I panted heavily, my vision blurring as a wave of dizziness washed over me, the heat radiating from my skin due to fever. I whimpered softly and shut my eyes as a cold hand pressed against my forehead. The touch feels nice.
you're burning up. Did you end up getting soaked in the rain yesterday?
I attempted to answer, but all that came out was sneezes and coughs.
Can you give me your address? I'll help you back.
His voice began to fade into a blur as my headache intensified. Despite his usual grumpiness, his voice is surprisingly soothing. And now I'm feeling dangerously close to sleep. Maybe. A nap doesn't sound so bad right now. I let myself drift back into unconsciousness, feeling my body being gently lifted and carried away. I let out a tiny groan as I caught a whiff of something delicious in the air. Maybe I somehow got transported to heaven. I winced when I felt some sort of light hitting my face. Okay, maybe I'm not in heaven. I tossed and turned a few more times on the most comfortable bed I ever felt before finally, albeit reluctantly, opening my eyes. It took me a few minutes to get out of the hazy state before noticing that I'm in an unfamiliar room. Shit. Have I been kidnapped? I shot out of bed only to collapse back down with a loud groan. The headache returned and I covered my eyes with my hands to block out the harsh sunlight. Ow! I hear shuffling in the distance before a figure approaches carrying a tray. So that's where the smell was coming from. I slowly turned my head to get a better look at my kidnapper, my eyes widening in surprise.
I was wondering when you were gonna wake up. I made some soup. Should help with the fever.
He placed the tray on the bedside table. I blinked at him several times, my mind still struggling to process what was happening. How long was I asleep?
About 5 hours. It's afternoon now.
5 hours? Oh god.
Don't worry about it. Your fever was pretty high.
I see. Where am I? His lips parted slightly, as if he was about to speak. But then he frowned and snapped his mouth shut. He seemed to hesitate for a moment before rubbing the back of his neck.
You're in my apartment. I carried you here. Before you get the wrong idea, I tried to ask you for your address, but you fainted before I could even finish asking back at the hotel.
Oh, right. I completely forgot that I came into work while I was sick. Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have come in when I was sick. It's my fault for I flinched at the sudden flick on my forehead, quickly rubbing the spot. Then I noticed a hand positioned right in front of me. Did you just flick my forehead? He huffed softly, a chuckle escaping him, as he clearly found my ramblings quite amusing. With the corners of his lips turning up slightly, he pulled his hand back.
None of that. It's partially my fault anyways.
I mean, it pretty much is all your fault. He shifted on his feet, letting out a sigh as his eyes drifted everywhere but towards me. I can't believe we're in his apartment so soon though, already? I will say, Kane, this isn't really my ideal first date.
I'm so sorry about what happened previously. I overwhelmed you badly during your job.
Yes, you did. Oh, Kane frowned even more and seemed to be struggling with his words. Maybe he's trying to be nice.
I still stand by what I said. The way you handle customers is shit.
Hey!
And the fact that you didn't even recognize the owner of the hotel.
Okay, that's unfair. I was new. He let out a huff, flashing me a wry smile.
You didn't even bother to look up the hotel before you got hired.
I froze for a split second, then turned my eyes elsewhere, letting out a nervous laugh. I had limited internet data and could barely afford internet cafes.
So you're broke?
That was definitely not a question. It was a statement, and I felt it strike deep into my soul. Yeah, well, I tried applying for a lot of jobs, but no one wants to hire someone who only has a high school diploma. He let out a hum before giving me a small pat on the head. A slight warmth crept into my cheeks, but I forced myself to dismiss the flutter in my chest. Why did I suddenly feel that way? Because he's hot and you have a crush on him and you're already down bad? Maybe it's just my fever acting up.
Can you sit up?
Yeah, let me just... I tried to push myself up, but to no avail. I couldn't even make it halfway before collapsing back onto the bed. Why are you laughing at me? I briefly caught Kane's expression, and his amusement at my suffering kind of miffed me. Why are you laughing at me?
You sure you don't need help?
I can get up myself, I swear.
Right.
And you clearly don't look like someone who wants to help me right now with that smug look on your face while you watch me struggle to sit up. With frustration clouding my face, I tried to get up again, only to meet the same result. I snapped my gaze to him, shooting a glare that dared him to even think about laughing. And yet he did, covering his mouth and turning away, barely holding back his laughter. With gritted teeth, I finally caved in and accepted my defeat. Fine. Help me, please. I finally burst out laughing, holding onto his sides as he doubled over laughing. It's really not that funny, my dude. I refused to even glance at him and simply glared at whatever my eyes landed on. I stared at the warm, fluffy blankets covering my legs. Clearly, this guy is rich from how expensive the stuff in his room is. The blankets are nice, though. I hear his laughter die down and was reduced to snickers. You know what? I'm gonna fight this guy right now. Then I felt a pair of arms wrap around my waist, effortlessly lifting me into a sitting position. Okay, maybe I won't fight him right now. That felt nice. Do it again. That same warmth returned, lingering a little longer this time.
There we go. Wasn't so hard, was it?
What is? Me asking for help or your thing? Not another word. Please. He complied, shaking his head with a smile as he handed me the bowl of soup. Thankfully, it was still warm. Thank you for the food. Kane smiled more, seeming to be more carefree and relaxed.
Don't mention it. Just let me know if you want more.
Yeah, sure, I always want more. You mean more as in you, right? I stared at him for a moment, realizing how much my perception of him had shifted since our first meeting. You're a lot nicer outside of work compared to when I was at work. Kane froze and quickly looked away, covering his mouth with his hand.
Maybe I want to be closer to you.
Oh, really? Already? Did you say something?
Nothing.
He kept his gaze from me and proceeded to sit by himself at the end of my feet.
Do you have any other questions?
What happened? What happened in the hotel? My memory's still hazy from the fever.
Oh, right.
He huffed.
I decided to transfer you to a different job and gave you a raise.
I stared at him for a few moments, my expression slowly shifting into one of confusion. Kane tilted his head to the side.
Is that so surprising?
Yeah, I just started literally yelling in your face and ran out halfway through my job.
Yes, that's true, but I can tell from the way you dress and the clothes you wear that you don't have much money.
Oh, thanks. I was about to retort, but then I paused and glanced down at my clothes. Okay, yeah, I guess he does kind of have a point. Well, first of all, rude.
Is stating facts considered rude now?
Yes, but hush it. Why help? Changing my job and giving me a raise doesn't really benefit you at all. He briefly chuckled, slipping his hand into his pocket.
Actually, I do gain something.
He pulled out a memory card and handed it to me. What?
The hotel is merely a side job that I do when I'm free. I'm the CEO of Techmorph. Surely you heard of that by now.
You own Techmorph. Techmorph is basically the main tech company on the island. Most of its devices in the island are built by them. If they did business outside the island, I won't be surprised if Kane becomes a billionaire. But for some reason they chose to only sell their devices in the island.
Yes, anyways. I have a new project right now that needs testing. The memory card I handed to you is a beta version of our new product. Something similar to how game quests work, but it's for newcomers to earn money doing simple jobs. A lot of newcomers are usually not prepared and do not have proper certificates or working experience dealing with the locals here. So I developed an app that gives out miscellaneous tasks from partnered shops to gain money and some sort of experience.
So what you're saying is, you want me to test the software? He nodded with a smirk.
Precisely. I mean, you don't have to if you're not up for it. However, that means I would need to fire you.
My jaw dropped as I stared at him, stunned. What?
What? Is it so surprising?
Not really, no. He shook his head with a dramatic sigh.
Don't get me wrong, I'm a kind person, but not all the time. I don't usually do offers like this without benefits or both sides.
The audacity of this man. So what, you want me to run around the city the whole day?
He looked shocked for a moment as if I had just said something unbelievable. Of course not, are you mad? You can definitely take your time doing your tasks. It's not like you have strict working hours. You only need to return to the hotel to give me feedback.
So I can goof around in the morning if I want to. He hummed in agreement. My eyes sparkled at this revelation. I can finally sleep in without a worry. What about the whole day? Since, there's no one around to monitor me and I can just, fake doing the tasks. He gives me an unimpressed look.
You do realize that I also gather feedback from our partners, right?
Damn it! He shook his head with a sigh, but the corners of his mouth tugged into a small smile. I stared down at the memory card in the palm of my hand, hesitation creeping in. Should I take his offer? Yes. It's not like I have much of a choice. I looked down at the bowl, the tears welling up in my eyes. Why? I really am just a hopeless person. He furrowed his brow and leaned forward, studying me intently.
What on earth do you mean by that?
I swallowed hard, forcing back the tears as best as I could. You said it yourself, I do my job terribly, and can't even take care of myself. I make stupid decisions impulsively, and I struggle to hold back my sobs as tears streaked down my cheeks. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be burdening you with my problems. I lowered my head, trying to hide the tears, not wanting to seem even more pathetic in front of someone. With my head still lowered, I heard the bed creak and felt the spot next to me sink under weight. I lifted my head in surprise as I felt an arm wrap around my shoulders awkwardly, followed by a firm pat on my head. That's cute though. Oh! I let out a soft huff from the firm pat and tried to look at him, but he kept my head firmly in place.
I know it's been hard, but...
I could hear the hesitation and the silence, but didn't comment on it. Still surprised by the awkward side hug.
You're a kind person, I truly admire that.
I finally managed to look up at him in surprise. Me? Kane scoffed and rolled his eyes.
Of course. That's what I'd be talking about if not you, dumbass.
He glared at me, his cheeks turning bright red when he saw me smiling from ear to ear. He does look cute when he blushes though, look at him. Tease him. Oh, come on, praise me more, Mr. Kane. What the hell?
Hell no. You're enjoying this way too much.
I pouted at him, delighting in how his cheeks flushed an even deeper shade of red. Fine, I'll stop. I couldn't help but giggle as I watched him quickly avert his eyes. I don't know why, but now that I've talked to him more, I feel so much more relaxed and at ease.
Anyways, what I meant was you're not hopeless. You helped someone like me even when I was giving you a hard time.
I almost said something like, well, that would be terrible customer service if I didn't, but I decided against it. Who knows what would happen if I pissed him off again?
So what I'm trying to say is don't put yourself down.
You really mean it? He let out a huff and ruffled my hair. Hey!
I'm not repeating myself.
Fine. Jesus, this is how you treat a sick guest.
Yeah, deal with it.
That's mean.
Too bad.
I rolled my eyes at him and he shook his head in disbelief.
I can't believe that I'm arguing with a grown child.
Excuse me?
Alright, that's enough chit-chat.
I scowled at him for cutting me off. Man, I really wanted to give him a piece of my mind for calling me a child. He stood up and gave my head one last pat.
There's some ibuprofen in the second drawer if you need it. I'll teach you how to use the app once you feel better.
He started to walk towards the stairs, ready to head down. He paused on the third step and turned to look at me, raising an eyebrow. Thank you for giving me another chance and for helping me. His eyes widened for a moment before softening slightly.
Rest well.
Just as he was about to leave, I caught sight of his red ears. I never thought it'd be this easy to fluster him. I looked down at my soup and took a small sip. This was the best soup I've ever had in my life. Sorry, Mom, you can't beat this at all. Before I knew it, I finished the entire bowl in a matter of seconds. I wouldn't be surprised if someone thought I just inhaled the soup. I let out a tiny yawn as I reached the bedside, pulling open the drawer to grab my medicine. Right after taking the medicine, I drifted off to sleep, clutching a couple pillows to my chest. I slowly opened my eyes when I felt the sun's rays hitting my closed eyelids. I groaned in frustration at the light, quickly grabbing a pillow and pressing it over my face to block it out.
As much as I like to let you sleep in, I need to check your fever.
I stayed silent for a few moments before suddenly jolting up from the bed, the pillow slipping from my face and landing on my lap. I'm so sorry. Kane stood next to the bed, holding 2 mugs with steam rising from them.
It's fine, I just need to check on how you're doing before getting into business. Yeah, made you some coffee. It's the only drink I have left aside from water.
I wouldn't mind water. Take the coffee. Thank you, I really needed that. He passed me the mug before taking a sip from his own.
How are you feeling right now?
Well, I don't feel hot anymore and the headache is gone. He nodded his head and lightly touched my forehead. I felt warmth creeping up my cheeks as my heart started racing. Man, he's treating me like how Mom treats me.
Well, lucky for you, seems like your fever's gone. We can get started with work then.
He pulled away as I began sulking. Can't you give me another day to rest? He let out a scoff and rolled his eyes. I guess that's a no?
Do you want to earn money or starve to death?
Fine.
Good, you should start by putting the memory card into your phone.
Man, I remember when phones used to have memory card slots. I miss those. I grumbled some more as I set the coffee mug down on the bedside table and reached for my phone in my pocket. After a few minutes of fiddling with the phone and trying to figure out where the memory card slot was, I finally installed it. It took a few minutes to get the installation done before giving him a thumbs up. Done. It's so cool. It's like you're in a game doing side quests.
Yeah.
His cheeks flushed as he took another sip of his coffee, clearly trying to hide it. I finished up my coffee as fast as I could before getting out of bed. Okay, I'm ready to head out. Kane stared down at me, his eyes scanning me up and down as if he were a scientist examining a newly discovered creature. I nervously shifted from where I stood. Well, what's the matter?
You're not going out in that.
What? What's wrong with what I'm wearing? He gave me a disgusted look before closing his eyes and pinching the bridge of his nose.
Don't get me wrong, but you look like you were crawling in trash cans.
Hey, I look fine. He gave me a deadpan look.
Nope.
He really isn't making himself likable right now. Interesting. But like, I still think he's a weenie. What do you mean, no? He grabbed me by the collar and dragged me to his closet. Whoa, Kane, already.
Please let go of me.
Mr. Kane! I stepped out of the bathroom, now dressed in the clothes Kane had handed me. I swear that man seemed to care a little bit too much about how he looks. Does he have like 20 different types of skincare products? I mean, I have like 10, so... And why does he have to lecture me about it? He's worse than my math teacher. But he did give me some of his clothes and surprisingly they're pretty comfortable. I'm done. Are you happy now? I blinked and got closer to him, waving a hand in front of his face. Mr. Kane! A trickle of blood runs down from his nose. Why? Are you okay? He gave a small nod and pointed at the stairs.
You can leave. The front door's easy to find.
But
I will cut your salary if you don't leave.
Help his stubborn ass. I quickly ran over to his closet and grabbed a handkerchief from one of the drawers.
Now you're trying to steal clothes from...
Shut it, you're too stubborn.
What?
I came back to his side with the handkerchief and wiped the blood away. He immediately clamped his mouth shut. As much as I like to get better clothes, I'd rather not get arrested for stealing people's stuff, especially since my boss is insanely rich and could probably make me homeless with no effort at all. I handed him back his handkerchief before heading downstairs to the front door. Thank you again for the help and offer, Mr. Kane. See you later at the hotel.
See you.
Why is there a giant eye here?
You think we should kill that pest in the hotel? No. Not yet. It's too early. We shouldn't make any rash decisions. After all, killing them would be less satisfying.
Who are we talking about? I'm not the pest, am I? Are we talking about the boss?
No one messes with what is mine.
Oh, we are talking about the boss. Okay. Alright. So that is route 1 of the demo. I kind of want to go back and see what happens when we pick all the bad options though. So let's start this up again.
Oh, you decide to return.
Oh, I do like dialogue changes when you start new runs. That is something that is a A+ in my books.
How curious.
I guess you weren't satisfied with your previous run.
Or maybe you wanted to find all the endings. Well, I won't stop you from continuing. You know what? Since you successfully completed your run, you can ask me about anything you want to know. I would love to pick your brain, dear mortal. Ask me anything you like.
Who are you? I can't answer that. Perhaps another question. Man, who is Kane? Okay, if you ask who is Kane, it says he's your guide to your happy ending. Or more like your vessel's happy ending. Don't worry about that moron so much. He may act all tough and scary on the outside, but he'll go on and on about meeting his loved one soon. Seriously, I might need to get those human earplugs just so I don't have to listen to him yap for the 50th time. Do you have any more questions? Yes. What's your name? Can't answer that. Well, seems like the only answer we got was to ask who Kane was, so let's just say no. Alright then, you may continue your run. Oh, I almost forgot. Choose your choices wisely. Please treat them kindly. Enjoy your next run. Alright, okay. Let's choose all the bad answers this time. This time, we are just going to return his ID and not treat as Knuckles and see what happens. Because treating as Knuckles was what got him to fall for us in the first place. I slowly let go of his ID. Sorry, I quickly handed him his keycard, avoiding eye contact. He shot me a glance before heading towards the elevator.
Make your hours count.
Before I could question him further, the elevator door shut off behind him. That was weird. I continued to do my job for the rest of the day, the ominous weighing down on me from his words. But I decided to push on dealing with the guests. Why do most of them act like they have a stick up their ass? Because they're rich and pompous? I sighed dramatically as I clocked out of work after grabbing my stuff. As I was about to step foot out of the lobby, my boss exited the back office with a smug look. Oh, hello boss, I was just about to leave. I will see you tomorrow. I gave him the same fake smile I wore the whole day. Probably would have perfected it after how many times I had to fake it during work.
No, that won't be necessary.
I looked at him with a stunned expression. What do you mean? He smirked and chuckled at me. You're fired, newbie.
Heard from our CEO that you were slacking off and were very unprofessional.
Dread slowly creeped into my body as he walks closer to me.
But if you really want to keep your job,
oh hell no! I backed away until my body hits the wall.
There are other things you can do.
I shivered in fear and disgust as his arm wraps around my waist. Ew!
I promise that's enough.
I froze when I heard a familiar voice coming from behind my boss. A tiny squeak left out of me as my boss gets yanked away from me. My boss stumbles back from the force and stares at Kane in shock. Mr. Kane, I didn't know you were still.
I told you to inform them, not assault them.
Sir, you're mistaken. We're just.
Get out.
Huh?
Get out of my hotel. I don't need people like you staining my name. I was gonna fire you anyway due to how many times this location needs to cycle their employees. I expect you to pack your stuff by the end of the day.
He walked past my boss and patted me on the shoulder with a chilling smile.
Come, let's talk outside.
I gulped and shakily followed him, still scared out of my mind. We both stepped outside the hotel, the cold air hitting my face as tears ran down my face.
Oh dear, there's no need to cry.
I flinched and choked back a sob when his hand rested on my shoulders.
I'm sure you'll find a job in the city, but from how you behave, it's probably not possible.
Hey! His grip on my shoulders tightens as I felt my body shake from hyperventilating.
It's alright though. I love to see insects like you grovel under my feet.
If you need another job,
stop by my place and I can help you.
I flinched my right hand as he slipped something into it. I couldn't hear the rest he had to say as I sprinted away from the hotel, gasping and crying in fear. The next few months, Yandere didn't bother to leave the house, traumatized from their first job. Oh, god damn it! They ended up being evicted from not paying the rent and bills, leading them to be homeless. Now you're just an empty husk in the alleyway, barely hanging on to that thread of life. But in the end, it was all but pointless. You're hereby required to vacate. A failure to vacate will result in legal proceedings. Man, bad N1. Fired.
What a pity. You could have avoided this if you had just helped him. He is, after all, my host.
I'm sure you'll make the right decisions next time.
My dear savior.
Alright, let's do this again. Alright, so for this run, I chose not to take my pills with me. So we don't get the pill option, we can only take deep breaths. I took deep breaths to calm myself down. I could feel my body shivering from the cold, but I couldn't bring myself to do my usual routine or at least dry myself off. My head feels like lead. The heavy pressure refusing to disappear as I collapse onto the mattress. Struggling to kick my shoes off while I curled up in my blankets, I ignored the wetness seeping into my bed. Maybe taking a nap would make me feel better tomorrow. Slowly, my eyes fell shut as I succumbed to a dreamless sleep. I could hear my alarm ringing next to me. I tried to reach out for it. I couldn't feel my arms. Why can't I feel my arms? My body felt numb all over. It was so cold. I struggled to open my eyes. Although barely, I managed to take a peek and saw that the window was open. My body's temperature is dropping. I'm freezing to death. I tried to call out for help, but I couldn't move my mouth. This sucks. Warm. It feels warm. I could feel it. Did someone come here to help? I'm so glad. Maybe now I can take a nap. I'll just rest a little while. Bad N2, frozen and killed. What the hell?
Oh wow. Wow. That's pretty pathetic.
Hey!
To die from not taking care of your host properly. Letting them freeze to death in their own room. I wonder if you did that on purpose.
Or perhaps you were careless.
But I guess I can give you a tip. Certain items allow you to unlock unknown options for your host. Try to get what you need, my dear savior. Don't disappoint me next time.
Okay, let's see what happens if I let this run out. Okay, nothing good happens. As I expected, Bad N3, eaten in your dreams, and not the sexy way either, god damn it.
Oh dear me. It appears you've encountered one of my siblings. I won't blame you if you couldn't defeat them easily, especially if it's your first time meeting them. I'd talk to you more about them, but it appears we don't have any time right now. There's always later to chat. See you.
Alright, fine. Alright, what happens if we say no to the job offer? No, I think I'll be fine. Kane looks surprised.
What?
Well, you see, it seems a little sketchy to me. Why would someone help a nobody like me? He frowned.
Is it that unbelievable that I simply wanted to help?
Yeah?
You really think you can survive this island without my help?
Excuse me, are you trying to call me weak? Yes, he is.
And what if I am calling you weak? You're merely just a rabbit in a cage full of wolves.
I felt shivers crawling through my spine as I slowly backed away from him while still on his bed. The bowl that was in my lap toppled down the side, spilling its contents out and onto the bed. You're scaring me. He stayed silent for a few minutes, before slowly turning his head towards the window. I followed his gaze and paled at the sight. A similar large yellow eye looked down into Kane's room. It slowly shifted its gaze towards me. What was that? I backed up to the point I fell off the bed with a yelp. I groaned in pain as I felt bile rise up from my stomach. I'm not safe. I need to get out. Now.
Did you suddenly turn into a klutz?
Stay away! I shifted back to the stairs and quickly pulled myself up despite the dizziness and ran down the stairs.
Wait, you're not well.
You're going to... Just as I got to the fifth step, my body leaned forward and I felt a heavy pressure in my head. I saw his hand reach out to me as I descended down the stairs, and I tried to reach back for help, but my head hits the floor and everything turns to black. Did I die? Bad N4. A moron. Oh, god damn it.
Seriously.
You really thought it was a good idea to reject his offer?
You really thought you could survive in this world without our help? Oh, dear me, I lost my composure. Seriously, mortal, you can make a joke without saying anything. Your actions to defy your purpose is so hilarious. Oh well, you'll bend to my will, eventually.
Alright, what happens if we don't take the coffee? Sorry, I don't really drink coffee.
Oh, I see. What do you usually drink?
Tea?
I see.
But thank you for the coffee. It would be a waste not to drink it. He gave me a surprised look.
Are you sure?
Yep. He passed me the mug before taking a sip from his own. Okay, so nothing happens if we refuse the coffee. So he's not controlling like that, which is good. Alright, so last choice I want to test. When he gets his nosebleed, what happens when we leave? Alright, if you say so. It didn't feel right to leave him there. But then again, I don't want to lose money. Thank you again for the help and offer, Mr. Kane. I'll see you later at the hotel.
You think we should kill that pest in the hotel?
No, not yet.
It's too early. We shouldn't make any rash decisions. After all, killing them would be less satisfying. No one messes with what is mine.
Okay, so same ending if we don't help him and he tells us to leave. And that is all the current options and endings in the demo for Lovers Paranoia. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along for the adventure. I'm excited about this. I think there's a lot of world building that we haven't gotten yet. And that's something that I really hope that we get to see more because I think there's a lot of context that I need. So one thing that's very interesting to me is we can't leave the island. And it's given me a very kind of like Wayward Pines sort of situation. Like you were living in this space but you're essentially trapped there in this idyllic life. But it's the fact that you can't leave that makes the whole thing so sinister. So I'm wondering why that's the case and I really want to find out. I didn't expect Kane to have such a big power position over us, and I'm always a fan of stories that explore that kind of power dynamic between someone who is significantly higher than another person in a sort of like position. I think it'd be really interesting to see how that develops. As of now though, I'm very keen to also understand why Kane really likes us. I have a suspicion that it's because we were simply just very kind to him and he hasn't experienced something like that before, and so it's something that he's very intrigued by. It was a fun demo and honestly Kane is gorgeous. I find him so pretty, and the art was very pretty as well. The story is definitely intriguing and I think it did a good job as a demo of piquing my interest and getting me to really desperately want to figure out what is going on and what's going to happen. So I absolutely wish the devs the best with making the next chapter, and I cannot wait to play it and explore it more because I think they've crafted a very wonderful world for us to explore in this, and I'm excited to see where they take it. But anyways, thanks for coming along on this adventure. If you guys like this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video. And also if you want exclusive playthroughs, my uncut and uncensored reactions to spicy scenes, spicy art that I make, and previews of games that I'm currently developing, my Patreon is in the description box below. But thank you so much again, and until next time, take care.